So before witches had cauldrons or beautifully created altars or even spell jars, we had the land. And the land was our first and only teacher. It was our guide. It was the place that we first learned to listen. If you haven't been here before, my name is Gayle. I am the witch next door. Welcome to your Wild Wisdom series, and we are on episode 2. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about how to forage without fear. It's one of those things where we worry about how we should communicate with the land, what we should and shouldn't pick, scared of getting it wrong, what are the poisonous plants, being judged, that is another one. You will see that I come to my notes because it helps me keep structure, because if you know me or if you've seen any of my videos, you know I'm all over the place. So if you see that, but honestly, foraging is one of the most empowering things we can do in witchcraft if we do it ethically, sustainably, and with the 3-step process that I mentioned in episode 1. So fear does make sense, right? Because online it's often taught like it's elite, so you can only do it if you know certain things, or it can be dangerous if you don't understand what certain plants are. Also, I see a lot of gatekeeping. That really frustrates me because this should be accessible. This is something that witchcraft embodies and has done for centuries. So we should all try and find plants in the land when we can. So I'm going to talk today about why people are afraid of foraging, how fear culture can gatekeep and make it really loud, and it can make us move away from doing that and then go in and buy it. So we will also talk about the difference between confidence and recklessness and what that means when we're talking about foraging or taking from the land. And then I'm going to make you more ready to go out and feel like you're empowered to go out and make that first step to find the plants that work for you. And remember, if you do want the full system on how I forage, I have my book that is out on the 17th of February. It's on my website, where I talk about everything magical. It is called Harvesting Magic, and it is magical foraging and practical magic. So grab yourself a warm drink, let's get comfy and let's begin. So chapter 1. Why are people, and witches in particular, fearful or afraid of foraging? Fear doesn't mean that you're not ready. It just means that there's something within you that really cares and you want to do it in the right thought out manner. So fear does play a really important part before we go out and start picking everything. Most new foragers have, I guess, 3 big fears. 1, the fear of poisonous plants. And there are plants out there that mimic other safe plants to forage. So it is worth taking care when we look at those. So this is one that everyone talks about, but they don't do it in a really thought out manner. So poisonous plants do exist, even in the UK. So the truth is, you're not going to accidentally pick a poisonous plant. You are going to be really thought out and measured when you go out and start foraging and pick plants that you know are the right plants. So as long as you're following the basics, learn really slowly, this series will really help. My book will help even more, but just stick to the beginner safe allies, things that you know inherently before you pick them, rather than, oh, it might be this, it might not be that. So you don't need to be scared, is my point. So panic and avoidance can be diminished. We can go out and forage things that you are familiar with. And when we've got that knowledge, it also dissolves all the fear you've got around going out foraging. So I hope that helps. So number 2, fear of doing it wrong. This is a massive one, right? Are we going to get it wrong? Are we going to upset the spirits of the land? Is it the right plant? Is it the right season? Should I be taking this amount or that amount? So the rule is we don't harm the plants. We should only be taking what is sustainable. 10% of anything you find is all that you need. And quite often you will learn that you need even less and less than you think you do. But you will learn that as you get experience in it. So you're not going to upset the land. You don't want to look like you don't know what you're doing as well. Just take that leap of faith. Once you've educated yourself through this series, hopefully you'll have a bit more, you won't be so fearful of taking that next step. But the secret is every forager started with 0 knowledge. Everyone, me, everyone. We didn't know anything when we started doing it. But then you have to start learning what those mistakes are. We misidentify plants. I've definitely done it. I've done videos in the past that I've said it was one thing and it was another. But you don't need to be flawless, okay? This isn't a flawless exercise. This is a learning exercise. You just need to be attentive and listen to your body and to the land as you're doing it. And then the third one, the fear of being judged. I mean, we fear this in daily life anyway, but especially when it comes to foraging and people seeing you picking up leaves or picking up a piece of nettle. You know, real witches know more than me. Have you have you ever said that to yourself? Oh, real witches understand. You're a real witch. I'm a real witch. We're all real witches, regardless of how much you don't think you are. You are. So you're also, this is a big one. I don't have a garden. Well, you don't need a garden to be a forager. There's so many things in the land that we can go out and pick ourselves. So follow this through, look at the really easily identifiable ones. There's nothing to be feared of. Foraging also is not about performance, okay? This is about learning how to embody that plant spirit and have relationships with them. It doesn't require an audience. And I'll see you in chapter 2. In chapter 2, we are going to talk about the elephant in the room, and this is that fear culture around herbalism and whether you need a degree in botany, you need to live in a forest, you need to know all the Latin names in order to be astute and understand how to forage and look at that. This creates like that gatekeeping culture, and this is what we want to avoid, right? We want it to make it really accessible, really understandable. And you don't always need to harvest under specific moon phases, although it does really help. So we can talk about that another time, but it doesn't have to be. Nothing has a fixed set of rules, okay? We are witches. We can do whatever feels inherently right for us to do. All you need is curiosity, respect, and you need a little bit of patience, because it is about educating yourself, right? You can't just jump in and expect to know everything straight away. That's not how the practice works, how craft works, and how foraging works. So fear culture thrives because people believe that they're experts, and nobody is an expert in anything. There might be some people who are more educated in certain elements, but nobody is an expert. We all can all educate ourselves as much as the next person. So witchcraft, like real witchcraft, is where people belong. And this is what we shouldn't be fearing foraging. So in chapter 3, let's be brutally honest. Some people online are reckless. They are. This is about confidence versus recklessness. And when I've seen numerous amounts of videos suggesting that we just go out and take what we want, this isn't about what craft or witchcraft is, or about foraging magically is about. We need to have our wits about us and be much more careful around the safety aspects, using plants as like props in our spell work. They have spiritual intelligence, and we need to revere that, and we need to forage in a way that really supports the land. So confidence sounds like, I know what this plant is, I know how to harvest ethically, I know how to use it safely, I know when to walk away, like you know when you're not supposed to be taking plants too. And recklessness is more around, I'll probably just guess it, I'm going to guess that I need this, it might be fine, oh it's fine, I'm going to take it anyway, you know, that's fine. And I saw someone do it on TikTok. Just because you see it online doesn't make it true. So you need to really use your discernment and be much more confident in your approach rather than having that reckless behaviour. Confidence is grounded. Recklessness is really loud, right? You hear all of this noise and you go, just do it and get what you need. Recklessness can be ego, and ego has no place in witchcraft. As we evolve into our practice, you will learn more about that. But confidence is witchcraft. And that's what you need to do. When you're going out foraging, don't be reckless. Have the confidence you need to pick and take only what you need in a safe and thought out manner. In this chapter, we're going to talk about why you don't need to be afraid. So the reality is, and the truth is, let's get down to the bones of it. We are surrounded by safe plants just about everywhere. They don't have poisonous lookalikes, and they're super beginner friendly. So there's lots of opportunities for us to go out and forage and work with the land where we don't need to be fearful. You don't need to start with poisonous lookalikes, and you definitely don't need to start with mushrooms. Mushrooms are fantastic, but they're also quite a complex system to understand, and there are lots of different lookalikes. So start with the stuff that we know and we see, like nettle. Plantain is a great one. It's really good for sores and burns. Dandelion, You can't get that mixed up. We all know what a dandelion looks like. But then there's things that we can grow at home, like rosemary and thyme and mint. And these things are so good for our practice, but they don't require us to be fearful because we understand them. We know what they look like. We know what they smell like. Great beginner-friendly herbs. So plants that are everywhere, like nettle. They're generous and they're abundant, so we don't need to then be fearful about taking too much, although we should still be mindful of that. So foraging ultimately is not about danger, it's about our relationship, okay? And this is the thing that I really want you to harness. Relationships grow slowly. You can't just build a relationship by meeting somebody straight away, and you can't do that when you meet a plant either. So take your time, be considered, don't be reckless, and start with the really beginner friendly stuff, and then we don't need to be scared or fearful. I'll see you in chapter 5. Let's talk about taking our first step in our magical foraging journey. So if you take nothing else from this episode, I really want you to take this, okay? I want you to step forward with confidence. You don't learn harvesting, I'll take that back. You don't learn foraging by harvesting. You learn foraging by noticing. And this is something I say over and over and over again. The art of noticing and the art of seeing what's around you is a key pillar of witchcraft. Noticing. Notice the plants. Watch how plants change week by week and grow and adapt and move around in their environment, what their names are, what their stories are, what the lore is around those plants is so key to really building a relationship with them, like you would with a human, right? And learn their boundaries, again, like we would do with any single relationship that we build. We want to figure out where our boundaries lie, the relationship that we're going to build, how it feels to be around them. It's the same with plants. They can be amazing allies, and it's really important to build up that. So we're not grabbing or collecting, and we're not hoarding, although it's very tempting us in witchcraft who love to have lots of things. We are noticing, we are listening, we are respecting the land, and that really is where the magic begins. And it's such a fundamental part of my practice. I hope that I can give you the energy and excitement to step into that too. So if this episode has sparked something in you, like a curiosity or a remembering, remember that you're softening onto your path, and that's okay. Like, this is exactly where you're meant to be, which is wonderful, right? Isn't it amazing? So if you want to go deeper on plant lore and correspondences, I do have my magical book, My Harvesting Magic, which is available on my website from the 17th of February. So if you're seeing this after that, it's already available. Make sure you go and grab that now. It's a 60-page book, deep diving on all areas of magical foraging and spellcraft. And if you are inclined to go even deeper and want to lean into coursework and do a 4-week course with me, it may be 6 weeks. I'm still trying to iron out the kinks, but I am doing a course called Land in Full Voice, which starts in August. It's going to be a high summer, high vibe course based around the herbs and foraging, but when we are in our abundant stage of the year. So I can't wait to let that land. If you want more information on that, please drop me an email or message me in all the usual places. And I've absolutely loved you being on this journey, and I hope you come back for episode 3 in this Wild Wisdom series, where we will be talking about the golden rules of magical foraging. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.